Hi guys. I thought I would do something completely different today. I've never done this. I've never actually done a cooking video, but I just got home about an hour ago from playing golf. So it's just about time for me to start thinking about dinner prep and to make dinner. So I just had this idea that on any random given night, like tonight, today is a Friday, I thought it might be interesting for you to see how I go through my thought process in getting ready to prepare dinner, because I haven't planned anything. I have nothing out. But one thing I always do is I ask myself what fresh item I might have on hand and then think about how I can use that. So one thing I know is that right now I have about a half a pack of Brussels sprouts. I bought them a couple of weeks ago, probably 2 weeks ago, and I just never used the whole pack. I only needed half a pack for what I was preparing. And so I have half a pack of Brussels sprouts. So I thought I definitely need to use up those Brussels sprouts before they go bad, or I will freeze them. But I'm going to plan my meal around Brussels sprouts. So if you just give me a minute, I'm gonna go out to my outside refrigerator and get the half pack of Brussels sprouts, and I'll be right back. Okay, so half pack of Brussels sprouts. I got them at Costco and I'm going to use them tonight. So after I figure out what fresh item that I know I probably need to use before it goes bad, I always think about, and you'll know this from episode 3 of Stretch Your Kitchen, I always think about what flavor profile I kind of want to go with. And tonight, I'm just in the mood for Cajun style food. I don't know why. I kind of want something a little bit spicy. It's a little chilly and a little cloudy here in Hawaii today. So I'm going to decide on something Cajun. And so I know I'm going to use Brussels sprouts as one of the elements, which is not traditionally a Cajun item, obviously. But remember what I said in flavor profiles. You can take any protein or any veg and use any flavor profile and transform that dish. So Cajun Brussels sprouts, we'll see. Okay, so now I'm going to think about what protein I have on hand. Well, I know Cajun food is one of my favorite things is shrimp and grits. If you've ever eaten shrimp and grits, it's delicious and I love it. But I don't have any shrimp on hand. But I'm pretty sure that I have some hot sausage. So I'm going to use hot sausage, which is also just a great food to have with Cajun dishes. So I'm going into my inside freezer. Oh, and look at what I just found. Oh my gosh, this is all coming together in my mind already. Okay, so I've got a pack of hot sausage. It's just Louisiana hot links. So it's only me and my husband tonight, so I don't need that much. So pack of hot sausage. And I just found this. So the other day on Valentine's Day, I made my husband a really nice meal. I made a steak over a corn and potato puree, and I froze the rest of the corn and potato puree because we didn't use it all. So now this is all coming together in my mind. I've got this sausage, I've got this corn and potato puree, and I've got Brussels sprouts. So I'm thinking in terms of shrimp and grits. I love grits. I always have polenta. Polenta and grits are pretty much the same thing. It's just a different way that the cornmeal is ground. So I don't actually have grits right now, which I usually do, but I'm almost positive I have polenta. So I'm gonna pull that out, which I do. Okay, so I've got polenta. So I'm thinking to myself, I am going to make a shrimp and grits style dish using sausage, and I'm going to make the polenta for the grits, but I'm going to stir in this corn and potato puree into the grits. It's going to give such a rich texture to those grits, and the corn already will reinforce the flavor of the grits, but the potato will really just add bulk and volume to those grits and maybe smooth it out a little bit, make it a little more creamy. Okay, so I've got my base, which is going to be polenta with the corn and potato puree. I've got my protein, which is my hot sausage. Now I have my veg. I think I can just do a simple Cajun roasted Brussels sprout on the side. So I'll drizzle olive oil, toss it around, add some salt, pepper, and garlic, and some Cajun seasoning, and throw that into the oven. and create a really nice crispy Cajun Brussels sprout. But what am I gonna do with the sausage? Because a shrimp and grits usually has obviously like some kind of broth or cream sauce or something with it. So most Cajun food, if you look on my flavor profiles document on stretchyourkitchen.com, most Cajun food always starts out with something called the Trinity. That is onion, pepper, and celery. I have celery, onion, and I have one yellow pepper, I think, I'm pretty sure it's a yellow pepper. I'm gonna look. So I'm going to make a nice pan sauce using the Trinity and some Cajun spices, and I'll use the drippings from this hot sausage. So I do have a little bit of celery. I won't need much. I do have a yellow and an orange pepper. In this case, I think I'm gonna go with the orange pepper. It's probably a little sweeter and maybe a little closer to what these flavors kind of demand. And then I've got an onion. Okay, and the last thing that will round this out is garlic. So, because yes, I freeze garlic too, because I don't want it to go to waste. So I'm gonna take out like maybe 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. I want a nice garlicky. Okay, so I've got that, and then in addition, I'm going to pull out my spices. I'm gonna go up here to my spice cabinet. It's a mess, sorry. And I'm going to go with obviously salt, pepper, some oregano if I can find it. Yes. Or Italian seasoning. Here's some oregano, good. And this, my favorite Cajun sauce, Slap Your Mama. Slap Your Mama. So I'm gonna go with the Slap Your Mama. Cajun seasoning. Salt, pepper, and oregano, because oregano is like a really good Cajun style spice. So I've got my meal fairly well planned out. I know I'm gonna have grits on the bottom, in this case polenta. I'm gonna stir in this delicious potato and corn puree. I'm gonna top it with this delicious sliced sausage with onion, pepper, and celery and garlic. And I'm gonna make a pan sauce with the drippings. That'll be so flavorful. And then with my Brussels sprouts, I'm gonna roast them with some olive oil, some Cajun seasoning, and some salt and pepper. That's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do my mise en place, which is getting all my vegetables cut up and ready to go. And I will get back to you in just a minute. Okay, I just finished my mise en place, and I'll just show you what I did. So I've chopped up my onion, my pepper, and my celery. That's the Trinity that I'm using. And then my garlic, and I have it separate because it will go in after the veggies have already sauteed for a little bit. I don't want the garlic to burn. I've cut my Brussels sprouts in half, and I have preheated the oven. So right now what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and move these spices so you can see. And I'm just gonna go in and slice up my sausage. Get that ready. You're gonna see how quick and easy this meal comes together. It comes together so quickly. Let me throw this away. Excuse the poor camera work. I've never done this before, so. Okay, so I'm just gonna slice it. I'm gonna try to slice these on nice diagonals just so the pieces end up being really nice and long, sort of like more long than just round. They're sort of oval rather than round. So I'm gonna slice up my, this isn't the right knife for it, but I don't wanna dirty another knife because I wanna stretch my kitchen. And that means using what I have on hand. And this is what I have on hand. All right, so I'm slicing up my sausage, and while I do that, I also have that potato and corn puree in the microwave, and it is just on defrost. So I don't know if you know this, but you can actually defrost Ziploc baggy items, because Ziploc, that brand in particular, is actually BPA free, and it is safe at low temperatures. So you can actually use a turbo defrost or whatever defrost setting you have on your microwave and just throw the Ziploc bag in there. Makes it fast and easy. So I've got these sausages now pretty much cut. You can see when you cut them on this diagonal, it actually makes a lot of sausage. So this is gonna be a lot for me and my husband. I'm gonna wash my hands. Now I'm just about ready to begin cooking. So first thing I'm gonna do is season my Brussels sprouts. Remember, we're going for the Cajun flavor profile, so I'm just gonna do a drizzle of olive oil, a nice drizzle, and then I'm going to do some salt. This is Hawaiian sea salt, but you can use whatever you have on hand. I've got to refill this. Just some salt. Make sure you use more seasoning than you think. You want your food to be well seasoned. I'm going to use a little bit of pepper. And then I am going to use this Cajun seasoning, which will also be utilized in the sausage mixture. So those flavors will be echoed in the sausage mixture. So you can see I'm just kind of putting in a good amount of Cajun seasoning, not too much. If I were to guess, it might be 1.5 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons. And now I'm just gonna mix this all up. That's how quick and easy it is to make a really delicious Cajun roasted Brussels sprout. I like to use parchment paper, again, easy cleanup. I don't wanna have a lot of mess to deal with afterwards, especially on a busy night. And I've just heard that my potatoes and corn puree is done defrosting. So got it out of the microwave and set that aside. Now what I'm gonna do is I will put this aside for just a minute, and then I will pop it into the oven as soon as it's come up to temperature. So I'm gonna take a second, remove the camera over here so that you can see the cooking process. Okay, so I've moved the camera over here so that you now have a view of my stove area. I've moved my mise en place over here. That's all of the things that I've prepared. The cut up vegetables, the garlic, the sausage, my 1 cup of polenta to 3 cups of water. I have a pot with the water. It's just about to come to a boil here. And I've got the oven now at 415 degrees. So I'm going to put the Brussels sprouts in because once they're in, I don't even have to think about them. So Brussels sprouts are going in. And I'm gonna ask Alexa to set a timer. Alexa, set a timer for 12 minutes.
12 minutes, starting now.
So I've got a piping hot cast iron. I love using a cast iron for anything that involves searing meat. It just creates a perfect crust, and then you get this nice remaining brown bits in the bottom that are going to be perfect for my pan sauce. So into the hot cast iron, whoops, my sausage is going to go, and I'm just going to let that come to a sear, or just sear on all sides. And I have olive oil in there. Rinse this one and throw it in. Okay, and I might add a little more olive oil because that will help with the base of the sauce. So I might have maybe 2 tablespoons of olive oil tops. So all I'm gonna do is make sure every single one of the sausages is sort of touching the bottom of the pan so it gets a nice sear on it. It'll only take a few minutes, but it'll just make this nice like brown sort of bark on the sausage, and that's what I want to look for in this. So I'm gonna leave this, I have this about medium heat because the cast iron just gets so hot. So you don't wanna put it on, really high heat when you're not cooking something like a steak where you want that big hot sear so that it can stay medium rare in the middle. This is just a nice sear. So I've got it on medium. Okay, my water back here is boiling. Polenta or grits is so easy. All I'm gonna do is slowly whisk in the polenta. Just slowly. I could use a whisk, but I'm doing it so slowly. Using this little spatula tool is fine. I want to keep it going. Now, one of the things about making polenta or grits is you can substitute some of the water for milk, but since I'm adding in this corn and potato puree, it already has like milk and butter in it. So the only thing I'm going to do is drop this heat significantly, add some of this Hawaiian sea salt, and I'm not even going to add pepper or anything. I'm not even going to add any other seasonings because there's going to be so many different seasonings and flavors from this Cajun dish that we're making here. So this will be a nice balance to all this heat that we should have from this hot sausage. All right, so I'm going to let that stir for a minute, make sure there's no lumps. There's not. This cooks up in like 4 or 5 minutes, and probably about 2 minutes from now, I'm just going to stir this in. Now, if you've never used grits or polenta, I highly recommend that you try it. It just creates such a nice, it's like when you have mashed potatoes under a dish. They're so yummy and creamy, Same with grits and polenta. And you can use it under like meatballs. I make a really delicious meatball marinara over a Parmesan polenta. It's just when you're tired of mashed potatoes or rice, use some polenta or grits. You'll be surprised at how much it adds to the dish. Okay, so these, now I'm gonna turn this heat up a little high because I wanna get a brown. These are pretty, I mean, they're already fully cooked anyway, but I wanna get a nice crust on them. So, turning that up high, and in a minute, I'm gonna remove that sausage to a plate. And right into that oil and sort of the juice or grease that the sausage has released, the veggies are gonna go right in there. Leaving as much of the other flavoring in the pan as possible. And right into that, we'll start with the carrot. No, that's not correct. We'll start with the celery and the peppers and the onions. In it goes. Now I'll be just giving that, letting it go until it gets a little bit soft. Shouldn't take long at all. My polenta is looking really good. I have it now just on a very low heat. And I am just going to put in this potato and corn puree. This is truly the way to use your leftovers. It was not enough for a full meal for anything, but it will really enhance these grits or polenta. So that's on a nice low heat. This will continue to thicken and cook, and it's gonna be such a delicious creamy base. I can't wait till we have this tonight. Okay, so I'm gonna let these veggies go for just a minute, and then I'm going to, once they get a little base to them, I'm going to add the garlic. And yes, I'm not the neatest cook. I'm a good plater, but I'm not the best at keeping things neat. So, okay, so I've got the garlic in there now, and I'm just sauteing all of this. I'm gonna let these veggies soften for maybe 5 minutes. So I'm gonna turn that heat down to just below medium, so these veggies can just soften. Give one more stir to this polenta. It's looking great, but I had an idea that I'm gonna tell you guys about. So we know that the meal is going to be this polenta with the sausage and the veggies and a nice creamy sauce. I've got the roasting Cajun-style Brussels sprouts. But this dish is going to have some sort of sauce or gravy. We're going to create it. I'm not sure what all it's going to be yet, but it's going to involve these juices. This polenta is very creamy and thick.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
And so what we need to have is something very light and bright. So what we're gonna do is we are going to make a little tiny salad. I do this all the time, but one of the things that I love for any kind of Cajun food is like adding a gremolata on top or something. So I'm actually gonna make a parsley, kale, lemon, garlic, olive oil gremolata. That is just so easy, and believe me when I say it adds so much flavor. You know what, I might not even make it gremolata. I think I'm gonna make it like a little salad instead. Okay, so let me grab a bowl. This is down pretty low, so we're just gonna let these vegetables rock for a little bit. They'll be absolutely fine. Nothing's gonna happen. This heat's low enough. I've got the polenta pretty well done. I'm gonna turn this around right here. And I am going to go for this gremolata. Now, salad. Okay. So, this is my leftover kale. It's not a whole lot. It's already washed and clean. So, I'm just going to add kale to this bowl. Probably about that much kale. Then I'm going to, I'll still have more kale. I mean, kale's like, lasts forever for me, but I use it all the time. Okay. So then I'm gonna get my little herb bag, and I've got a bunch of parsley in here. So I'm gonna take as much parsley as I can. I'm gonna take all that. Here's some more. Okay, so this is a good amount of parsley. I'll show you. And with the knife and the cutting board, I'm just gonna do a super rough chop on this parsley. A very rough chop. So you can see, I am literally just giving a rough chop to that parsley. I don't want it to have to fight with the kale. I want to taste parsley when I am biting into it. I don't want it too small. So a nice rough chop. It's okay to include some stems. So that parsley is gonna go right in there with the kale. Then I've got a lemon, and I am going to just go halves on that lemon and squeeze the juice into there. Just a little. This also makes plating really nice. Like when you have a nice, bright, fresh something or other on top, it just adds so much to the plating. Now, of course, I'll need to add salt and pepper, no doubt. In this situation, I don't want to use sea salt because it's too rocky. Okay. And add a good amount of pepper. And then the last thing will be some olive oil. And we'll give that a little toss. And this fresh, well, it's not even a granola now, it's a parsley kale salad, will be the perfect topper for this meal. That looks amazing. So you can see it's just a parsley kale salad. And how easy is that? And it adds so much. Yum. So bright, so acidic, perfect amount of salt and pepper, and it's really gonna cut the richness of this dish. So we'll come back over here and check on our veggies. They're looking great. Time to add the seasoning. I'm gonna add salt. I'm gonna add pepper. I'm gonna add a little smoked paprika. I want a nice smokiness to it. I'm gonna add oregano. And then I'm gonna add a bunch of this Cajun seasoning. Not too much, but enough that we really taste it when we make the gravy. All right, let's give that a stir. Perfect. And now the easiest thing of all, I'm gonna let those spices sort of bloom and toast in this oil for a few minutes. Not long at all, because these veggies are nice and soft now. And Alexa's about to go off, so let me grab these Brussels sprouts. Alexa, stop timer. Okay. So my Brussels sprouts, I'm gonna check on them. Oh, they're looking good. Okay, I'm gonna give them a little shake and put them back in. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. 5 more minutes and those will be done. Now we're ready to continue with our sauce. Okay, so what we're gonna do for this is we are going to use flour. I'm just gonna sprinkle the whole top with flour. This is like creating a roux. So I'm gonna let these vegetables sort of mesh with this flour. Let the flour cook for a minute or two so that it becomes nice and you just get that kind of raw flour taste out of it, okay? So that's gonna, oh, it smells so good. Oh my goodness, all those spices just hit me. Okay, so we've got that happening. I'm gonna add a little bit of water after I let this go for probably 2 minutes. Look at that. Now this is where we're gonna scrape up all those brown bits. Look at that. Oh my gosh. You can see that a gravy is actually forming, but I want it creamy because I like my shrimp and grits, and in this case sausage and grits, creamy. So I'm gonna do that. Look at that. That's so easy. Now all of this is thickening up so much. So the last thing, I probably added maybe a cup of water, but the last thing I'm gonna do is add some milk to this. Maybe about 3/4 of a cup. Perfect. This looks amazing. This is gonna thicken up so nicely. It is a beautiful, simple pan gravy. All right, so we've got that going on. Oh, it's getting so thick too. Can you see this? it's just looking amazing. And that sausage is gonna go right back in there. And while I'm here, just to loosen this up a little bit, I'm just gonna add a touch of milk to my polenta and turn up the heat a little bit. This is all looking amazing. Okay, and I'm just gonna give that a little stir. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Creamy, thick corn and potato polenta. That looks amazing. All right, that is done. Okay, my sauce is now thickening and looking delicious. I'm gonna give it a stir. It's got so much Cajun flavor in there, and I'm just gonna pour back in my sausage. And so what we'll do is we'll come back, I'll get everything out of the oven, and we'll finish up by plating. You can see that I've made this entire meal in less than 30 minutes using items that I already had on hand, some leftover potato corn puree, a few pieces of sausage, some vegetables, and Brussels sprouts that had to be used or I would have had to freeze them. And I didn't ask myself, well, how is Brussels sprouts gonna go Cajun? I just know I can make it work because we use flavor profiles. So join me back in just a few minutes and we'll plate it up. Okay, I'm back and it is time to plate. So this plating is super easy. However, I really believe that plating is a huge part of enjoying the meal. I think it's said that you eat with your eyes first. So I'm gonna do my best to plate this one well. My husband is right over here looking, come, but he's gonna be the one eating it, so he should be. But yeah, Thomas. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this polenta and I'll show you the finished product. I'm gonna make a nice sort of round bed of polenta in the middle of the plate. Okay, so then I'm going to strategically place pieces of sausage on this polenta. I want it to look beautiful, and so okay, so I'm just adding as many pieces as I think he'll eat. So, and then he can always get more. Okay, so now that I've done that, I like to kind of clean the side, and then I'm going to take some of the gravy, and I'm gonna just add a little bit more to the center. And then on top of that, I'm going to add the salad. That might be too much. You know, the chefs just use their hands for this. I see it on the shows all the time. Okay, but I'm adding a nice little bit of that parsley kale salad right on top. It'll look lovely. I did use my hands. Okay, and the last thing that we need to add to this dish is the crispy Cajun Brussels sprouts. You can see they're complete. I'm just gonna add a few crispy Cajun Brussels sprouts on the side. It'll make it look really ornamental and pretty. And it's okay if those little leafy ones sort of scatter. I think that makes it look really nice. Get some of the burned ones, get some of the, hold on, there we go. So, one more cleanup. All right, that's it. Finished product is, oh, there you go. Oops, one of my Brussels sprouts fell. So it is a Cajun sausage in a shrimp and grits style gravy over polenta with crispy Cajun Brussels sprouts. All done in 30 minutes or less using items that I already had on hand. I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, leave a message, leave a comment in the comments below, and I'll try to answer it. Thank you so much. Have a good night.